What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ripping the Pitch podcast. My name is Zach, aka Primetime Collecting, your host. We have Turtle here with me as well. Turtle, what is going on, buddy?
Good evening. How's it going?
It's going great, man. How has your past couple weeks been? I know you guys were knocking out some Star Wars and some other stuff in your
Yeah,
breaks.
Star Wars. We did a couple. I did two cases of Obsidian on Sunday, one in the morning and one in the evening, and those were just great. We've been rolling. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. And I saw the Copa highlights. The highlights from Copa were
That Copa
crazy.
was weird for it to be Curtis, the owner of the shop in Birmingham, had bought that for us, and it was two boxes had been sold from the Dallas show a couple months ago. And so it was 10 loose cases, but it was from the same case. So we added a couple of green prism panini packs to it, and it was great that we hit two landmarks. We hit the badge for the tournament card. We hit two autos to 10, including an R9. A bunch of to 24s, just tons of orange. I mean, it was a really. I wonder what was in those other two boxes that would have possibly made that case epic, but we don't know. So,
Right.
but it was still great 10 boxes. So, and it was just good that we had good 10 boxes. That it shows that we have that integrity. We weren't we hadn't opened those two boxes and gotten case hits and then trying to sell the other 10 boxes, something goofy like that, which a lot of times is what happens on like an eBay or something. Sometimes you'll see a box cheap on eBay. Well, it's probably because the case has already gone or something like that. So it was good to
Right.
see those 10 boxes were legit, real, and we had a good time with it. So it was a good break.
Awesome. That's crazy. It's funny that you actually bring that up because just like a couple days ago, we had the F1
Yeah,
Topps Chrome release. And as we're doing breaks, we all started to realize, all the breakers, that it looked like all of the autos were on one side of the case, because in F1 it was about
right.
6 autos per 12 box case. So they had all the autos lined up on one side. So we were trying to tell everybody to be careful buying your loose boxes from whether eBay
Yeah,
or online, wherever, because people will do shady stuff, but it's good to hear that there's still good integrity in the hobby.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And
That's
look,
great.
I've always said I mean, in the long run, I've always thought the way we do things as our group, the way others, that we know and we respect in the hobby, in the long run, that's going to matter way more than someone short, who's very short sighted, who's well, quite literally stealing from their customers. That's not good. That's not a good business. That's not good friendships. That's not good relationships. So there's no reason to do that. I would much rather do this for years and years and years to come than get some kind of short-term gain from finding a few autos, from the left side of a case, you know what I mean, and selling the loose ones. That's not how I operate. That's not my integrity, and that's not our integrity as our group with Vita Mundo. And I mean, we just continue to show that. So that's what matters. So,
Yep, exactly. So there has been, while we've been gone, a lot going on in the footy hobby, I will say.
yes.
Starting with what I didn't even know was happening because I was out of town, and Amit was telling us about it in the group chat that we had a Euro Sapphire
Yep.
release on the Topps website yesterday. I believe it was sold out within 4 minutes.
Yes. Something like that.
Everything
Yeah.
they had on their site, they had it listed at $210 a box. And while I had a free moment today, I went over to the old eBay to just look up what people had them posted for, and they are listed for over double. People have boxes listed at
Yep.
$475 on eBay. Do
Which
you actually think that's going to hold up with that Euro product?
I don't think it will hold up. I do think there will be some sales at that price. I mean, anything in the world that sells out in 4 minutes means it was probably underpriced. I mean, let's just the demand for it is way more than the price on the supply chain, equilibrium kind of thing. So I do believe that those boxes are worth more than 200 a box, right? Um, I don't think 460 will hold up. I think after the first few are opened, and if a Lamine Yamal 1-on-1 is hit early or something else, that's going to drop it um, low, right? But I think 350 or so is around a price that'll probably settle at, for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I mean,
Yeah, I could
it
see.
is extremely low production, and it's got some good that Euro stuff. I'm an international fan, as you know. I'm not a club fan as much, but um, I mean that Euro stuff. I liked Pristine. A lot of people don't like it. I liked Pristine. I love the Euro Chrome that we did a few weeks ago, and so this Sapphire is just going to be really good. So
I mean, I think it could definitely settle in the 300 to 350 range. I think I saw pictures in the mock-ups of Lamine and Ronaldo both having Sapphire Selection autos.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I saw that. Regardless, I think this is actually, let's talk Topps Chrome Euro as a whole, and then I'll kind of break it out to Sapphire. I believe that Topps Chrome Euro is probably been the best promoted product by Topps. Why? It was under promised and over delivered by a long shot.
right,
I myself, and I think a bunch of other people, thought when we saw this Euro product, we thought, oh, great, another unlicensed product, pajama jerseys. Like, we don't really want that kind of stuff. And there's not as many people who follow that versus, like a FIFA or like an EPL. Like,
right.
they want everything. And so the fact that it was all this surprise stuff that came out for us once it got released. The sketch cards, the Berlin Knights, the hidden gems, all the nice color coming out of it. It was a very pleasant surprise. So what happened was when we had like early access,
Yeah,
people were kind of slow to jump in, and then as release day came around, or even that night of early access, people were going crazy because they saw all the good stuff coming out. So it got hype, 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 hype. And then once it reached max hype, they released the Sapphire. Now that's why you see that big turnaround on the pricing and people trying to get a quick flip
I,
out of their Sapphire boxes.
I think this product would have been this line of products, the 3 or 4 of them, probably would have been one of the top 3 or 4 lines of the year if they had released it before or during the tournament.
Oh yeah,
I believe the timing of the release of this product has hurt it from that perspective. Um, you know, Here we are, what, 6 months after the tournament or whatever, and we're still getting one of the products. So which would be cool if they were able to put like championship stuff or stuff related to like maybe the final 8, the final 4, the final 2, something added like as a results kind of product to that. If they did that, that would be
uh-huh.
nice. But the fact that the Euros came out 3 or 4 months after the tournament, I think hurt it. I don't. I mean, I'm not a fan of unlicensed either. But there were big spots, but there was only what 4 countries that weren't licensed. I think out of the whole product, so it wasn't
It
like
was
the
4.
entire product was unlicensed, but it was it France, and I mean, there was a couple of big spots, so it was
So
interesting.
I think from product to product from the Euros, they have gotten a better job of hiding that it's
Yeah,
unlicensed. I think they're doing a better job of figuring out how to angle the players and fix the cards up that it looks enough to be like that. And to your point, they actually did do something really cool. They gave us the nets, right?
no, that's
They
right.
gave us the
Yes, that
net
was it.
and the match ball, which I
Yeah,
think were two great additions. And again, another thing that we didn't even know. I think
right.
they didn't post that on Instagram until like 2 days after the product
Yeah,
released and people were ripping it. So it's just like more and more surprises came out. I think if they did that moving forward with more and more products, that's the best way of kind of marketing because there was the early access hype. Then there was the release day hype because everybody saw everything that happened. And then, like halfway through release day, they post these pictures of the Lamine Yamal match ball. And the next day, they post the pictures of the net relics. It's like, okay,
yeah.
this continued hype over a week is really, really good for a product and keeps people interested. But the fact that they held some back, it's great.
I will say that that Lamine Yamal match ball was weird because it was a Merlin match ball, and it kind of felt like I remember because like you said we didn't know about it until after product we were like, wait a minute, is this a typo on the checklist? Is this a like are they advertising a new Merlin product or is like but they actually put it in the Euro and it was like why would
Yep.
you have a Merlin match ball in the Euro and then you saw the ball with the actual logo and the date of the final. That was crazy. So
That's crazy cool, right? I love that. I mean, again, Yeah, it's a little bit weird. They're probably just trying to keep the branding up to par, and they're just ending up mixing it because they were never going to make a Euro Merlin, and if they are, it's a little too late, I
No,
think now. But I think it's a really cool addition, and again, I think that the more slow teases we get, the better. So, and it keeps the excitement for the product for everybody. But yeah, I think Euro Sapphire is gonna be good. I know we're gonna have cases of it coming in a few days. I'm sure.
yep,
We're all gonna get a case to do. You'll do yours on Whatnot. I'll do mine on Fanatics, so everybody can go check those out as soon as we get them posted. If you follow us on socials, you're gonna see everything that we're gonna be doing. So listen, there was Champions League today,
there was
and
yesterday and today. Yeah,
there are two teams that are completely off the rails right now. Two of what we all consider to be the top teams in the world. Uh, Real Madrid goes down to Liverpool 2-0 today,
yep.
and that team looks in shambles.
I I don't understand. Right? I mean, it's just too much talent to be that poor. And Mbappe is. I mean, he missed a penalty today, right? I mean, Mbappe is not fitting in with that group. Bellingham isn't. Not even just like he's regressed from last year. It's
Mm-hmm.
just I it's unexcusable. I mean, it really is. Not to say anything about Liverpool, but I just don't understand. They don't look right. They don't. They there is something to chemistry, and there's something to you just can't buy your way through championships, right? Now,
Oh,
in this
100%.
format, you can afford to have a bad game or several really, and still advance. And until it gets to the true elimination rounds, you can still survive, and they can still win. The Real Madrid can still be the champion this year. I mean, it's possible, but it's man them, and then of course the other team we haven't said, Man City. Just there's just no excuse. I mean, there's been a couple injuries here and there. I get it and everything, but those teams are so loaded with pure high level talent. I mean, guys on their bench would start on almost every team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's inexcusable.
It really is. I mean, okay, for Madrid, let's start with that Madrid Liverpool game. Liverpool, let's give them credit. They're having an amazing season. What
Yep.
Arne Slot has done with them is awesome. They look amazing, look rejuvenated. Not perfect, but a whole lot better than what they looked even the past two seasons, I would say. Madrid, on the other hand, first off, I'm going to get this out of the way. And I know this is a hot take, and some people agree. A lot of people are going to disagree. I think from the beginning, Mbappe has been overhyped. I think Mbappe is a good player. I don't think he's the world class player that everybody says and thinks he is. I think a lot of his French success was a part of due to his teammates around him. Now, at the same time, in that World Cup, he did a great job in that final. Give him that game, absolutely. Outside of that, not much that I've seen that necessarily puts him in the likes of, a Messi or Ronaldo type of category yet. But he
Well,
gets
he's
that
taken
hype.
France to two finals, won one, and then lost the second. So
Right.
I, I
He was so
wonder,
young, though, too.
I wonder if he is like many players, and the international game is where he thrives, and the club game is not.
It's very possible.
And I,
There's a few players like that, a few players reverse, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. There's absolutely. I mean, I mean, like near and dear to my heart, of course, Ochoa is famous for what he's done in the World Cup. He sucks at club. Like he's never been on. But now some of the clubs he's been on has been these really bottom tier, Serie A, whatever. But even wherever, I mean, he's just not been good in club. But he's a god at the World Cup, right? I mean,
Yep.
James Rodriguez is something similar to that, right? He's amazing with Colombia, but it hasn't really panned out for these clubs and big clubs that he's been on, Real Madrid and everything. So I don't know. Like Mbappe's still super young. We don't realize how young he still is, right? And there's still a lot to be told on his story, but it is trending towards this. He's amazing with France, and he's not that really that good with clubs, or he plays against lesser opponents, in Ligue 1 that's is being exposed right now in La Liga.
I think that was more the case than anything. I think that this team has no chemistry. I
Yep.
think some of the players aren't even interested in trying to get chemistry with each other. They're just trying to, how do you say, build their own bankroll, right?
Right.
They want their goals and assists to go up. They don't care about the team. And I think, even in a way, I think Ancelotti is starting to lose interest at this point. And I've seen rumors of Xabi Alonso coming in. By the way, I'm 2 cards away from getting the Xabi Alonso Stadium Club Rainbow.
No.
If anybody has the Super Fractor or Red Members Only autos, those are the only ones I need. So that's a side note. But I think Xabi Alonso would be a great addition. But you're going to have to move around some players, and they're going to have to make some tough decisions this summer if this is the track they go. If they don't make it far in Champions League, if they can't get even into the top 3 of La Liga, because I think that's even at risk. Like, there is other teams who are doing really well in La Liga, and they're right on their tail. There's going to be some tough decisions to be made this summer. And I think people need to be careful with holding the bag on the Mbappe. I think you might be spot on about him being a good international player, and maybe his France kit cards are a great hold, but maybe his PSG and Real Madrid kit cards aren't necessarily the best hold. And again, we can see that, in 2 years when the World Cup comes back around, where is Mbappe with that France team, but where is he with his club as well?
Right.
Now, on the other hand, that Manchester,
Mm.
I'm gonna say the right words, Manchester City.
Yes, please.
I'm not gonna give them my crude nickname. Listen, they're
that,
bad.
That is a choke job. I mean, it's been going on for weeks now. Don't get me wrong, but that last game yesterday, you cannot give up 3 goals in the 74th, 82nd, and 89th minute when you're up.
It's unreal.
You're up 3-0 in soccer. You cannot lose that game. Not with that talent, not at that level, not at there. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Feyenoord, but I mean that's just not acceptable. It can't happen, and it doesn't make sense. Again, this is, I mean, one of the top 3 or 4 talented teams in the world, and they cannot do that.
I mean, they just had total back-to-back Champions League choke jobs.
Yeah.
Sporting and Feyenoord, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sporting.
It's
Spain, what was it? 4-1? I mean, Yorkis
4 or 5-1, something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was just.
It's becoming embarrassing for them.
Right. Yeah.
There's a major disconnect. Who knows if it's coaching or the players actually how they're playing. And the fact that within the middle of all of this, they give Pep a 2-year extension.
Right. Yeah. Which I think it was in the works for a little while. I know they announced it, but the timing, the optics of it is very poor when he's on this 5-game stretch of horribleness right now, of poor play. I'm sure it was in the works months ago, but
right.
Still, I don't. I mean, I look. I'm a huge KDB fan. He hasn't been playing. He's been sitting, hurt and / on the bench, and I feel like he is that stabilizing kind of presence that wouldn't allow 3 goals to be scored on them. Just ball possession would have been prevented the other team from scoring 3 goals. There's things like that fundamentals. I mean, the goals they gave up were just. I mean, I don't know what the goalie's doing. I don't know what the defense is doing. They're just out there like it's a complete just lack of focus and a complete just. You just stopped paying attention to what was going on, and it didn't make sense.
Josko's been bad. Vardiola's been really bad. I mean, he was a top touted defender. He was in the past couple of seasons. He's actually been really, really good. But this season, he has just completely lost form. Holland started off the season great.
Yep.
Not getting the big goals like we've always talked about. He's not getting in those clutch moment goals, which is what keeps bringing him down. So I don't see this Manchester City team going very far in Champions League. They'll be lucky to crack top 4 if they keep this going in EPL, because there's other teams who like Arsenal and Liverpool that are going to be up there. Tottenham's having a pretty decent season. Even Chelsea's on the come up a little bit. As a United fan who's been down for a decade, but remembers the changing of tide when things started to go bad, this does give me a little bit of flashbacks of when United started to see a little bit of downhill action. And then, within a 2-year period, it tumbled downhill faster than a wagon full of fat kids. It was rough.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if this there might be something else around the corner, some sanctions or something. Man City's always had that threat, some point deductions, some it's not fair play. What is it called when they spend more
The
too much?
financial fair play.
Financial fair play, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if they start slipping a little bit more. They're like, you know what? Let's take it. Let's take the hit. They make a deal. Let's take the hit, and then we can kind of blame that as to why we finished, and then regroup it a year or two later. You know what I mean? Like take their medicine, kind of a thing. If they see themselves sliding already, you know what I mean? And
The
then they
thing
can
is,
use
though,
it
like
as you know.
even with the extension they gave him, Pep has already said that if they get relegated, that he plans on staying with them. But there's no
Right.
chance those players stay to play in, the
No,
EFL
no.
Championship.
If the sanctions are to the point of relegation, um, that that is wow. I mean, that is going to be a story we'll be talking about for years and years and years. I mean, because like you said, the players won't stay, and I don't blame them so much, but um, wow, that is a mind blower right there to me. That's a lot going on with that. So
I mean, it definitely feels like something is distracting those players, and something like that looming feels like it could be the thing.
yeah,
So who knows? We're just speculating, but it's
no,
going to be interesting to see what happens, even let's say after the January transfer window or the winter transfer window. Like it's going to be
I mean,
who's staying and
do
who's
they
going.
transfer players or do they bring? Are they buyers or sellers? You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
it's a question at that point. And that's a month from now. They could be in, like you said. I mean, they're in second right now in the EPL, but they could be in fifth or sixth.
Yeah,
By Boxing Day.
easily.
So who
Because
knows?
they've had some missed results for sure, even in the
Yeah.
EPL.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. There is one more. Well, I'll just quickly give Arsenal their flowers. Arsenal had
Yeah.
a great
No,
win
why not?
against
I mean,
Sporting.
you scored 5
They,
goals. Yeah.
yeah, they went out and crushed them. So math says that next time they play Manchester City, they should be able to win 10-1.
Oh, is
They
that how the
scored
math works?
5,
Yeah, I'm not.
and then City gave up 5 against Sporting. I think that's how that works. We'll
Yeah,
see. We'll
I'm
see
not
how it
sure
goes.
if you can extrapolate like that. I mean, if you want to put that bet in Vegas, I'm sure you'll get pretty damn good odds. But I actually was very. I watched that game. I thought that was the most interesting game to me to watch on Tuesday, and I was extremely disappointed with Sporting, and I was very surprised. Not only that Arsenal did what they did, but they kept going. Like they didn't stop. They didn't. They when they were up 3-1, they didn't park the bus. When they're up 4-1, they didn't park the bus. Like they kept. I thought that was what was impressive about that victory was Arsenal kept scoring and kept pushing. They shut down Yorkish, and which is fine. I mean, still that kid has had an insane run the last 5-6 weeks, both
Yeah, he has.
in the Portuguese league and in Champions League. What he did to Man City was
Mm-hmm.
impressive. But I was impressed by. I think I was most impressed by Arsenal not slowing down and not letting them even have a chance to come back. Keep the foot on the gas. Keep going, and they did, and they just kept scoring.
Yeah. I mean, Gyökeres, can we talk about him for a second? That dude,
Dude,
he's crushing a Champions League. Maybe not against Arsenal.
come on.
Crushing the Portuguese League. Nations League, he's on fire too.
Yep.
He's scoring in every asset that you can in every single way. He is going to be getting a big transfer
And
probably in the summer, not
and
in
that's the
January.
question, right? Like, where does he go? What fits him? Like we were just talking about, like Mbappe. Does he end up like Mbappe, go to a team that it doesn't fit right, or does he end up and continue this meteoric rise? I mean, he is, in my opinion, number 2 right now among young players behind Lamine Yamal.
Yeah.
And the only reason, and it's actually getting close. Like, believe it or not, like it's getting close. Like he is lately he's bridging that gap. It
Yeah.
was maybe this much, now it's this much. It's very interesting.
They're both crazy exciting players.
Yes.
And Lamine has a better history of producing more because we just saw him at the Euros.
Yeah.
He did it last season with Barca. He's doing it again this season with Barca. The biggest difference with those two guys is simply Gyökeres is more of a Holland or Mbappe type of player, where his basis is scoring a whole bunch of goals. Lamine's going to score a lot of goals, but he's not going to get the same opportunities
Right.
that a Gyökeres would in that striker position.
I I think, and I also think from the international game, I mean, Gyökeres is not on as good a team. I mean, it's just not as good as Spain. Uh,
Oh,
so
yeah.
so Lamine is going to have a lot more exposure in these the World Cup coming out. The next big international tournament, I guess, really is the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But every 2 years, whether it's the Euro, the World Cup, the Euro, the World Cup, Lamine will have a lot more exposure at that level. So it'll be interesting. I don't. I'm not saying Gyökeres will get to Lamine's level, but I think he's closed the gap in the last 6 weeks a little bit. So
I mean, did you look at his market after the Manchester City game?
no, what
His
is it?
autos almost tripled.
Oh, the mark was
He only has his Merlin
yeah.
autos, and like they went the base autos, I think went from like 100 to like 250, 300 overnight.
I mean,
It was
that's
nuts.
that, but we've seen that before. I mean, remember Dusan
Oh
Blahovic
yeah.
when he went to Italy? Like he single handedly put Serie A product, like an entire case, went triple priced. When he,
Mm-hmm.
when his first Juve, and then his what was he? He was in was it God? I can't remember the product that he was in, but everybody was chasing his purples and his um,
Maybe a Chronicles.
he was a Chronicles product, yes, and everybody was chasing his Chronicles product right when he went to Juve. So we've seen players do that in our hobby before. Lamine
Mm-hmm.
has done it for the last 6 months in our hobby, of course. But yeah, I mean, I'm running a Merlin break Black Friday, and that sporting spot is a lot more than it was, a month ago. So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. As it should be.
yeah, I mean,
Okay, quickly, I want to quickly go back to some product. I'm going to spring this on you, actually. We didn't talk
uh
about this at all, but I want your opinions on it because I've been kind of watching it over the past couple months. And there's something that Tops is doing versus Panini is doing. And I think it's very interesting. And I think it's kind of leaning itself towards Panini showing its hand at being closer to being out. So we just had, what was our last Panini product? Obsidian,
yeah, I
right?
guess so. Yeah,
That was the last one that came out. That one, I will give them credit, actually came out on time. We have Panini Impeccable. No, Immaculate. Sorry.
mm,
Immaculate Collection. It was promoted to me, I believe, in August, either August or July, as a September release. And then it got pushed back to a November release. The week it was supposed to be released in November, it got pushed back to a December release. And now, if you look at Blowout, it's being shown as a end of January release, which is also is supposed to come out the same day that Blowout also has 24-25 Donruss Soccer coming out, which
okay,
obviously one of those is going to get pushed because they're not
right,
going to release them on the same day. Panini is in this very vicious bad cycle of either really just delaying soccer stuff. I'm not really watching if it's happening with other sports, or they're kind of showing their hand that they're just focusing on other things because they know that they're losing licensing to a lot of these things soon. Whereas Tops is actually doing a pretty good job. If you look at any of the like the blowouts or any of those type of websites that pre-sell hobby boxes or cases, you only get like 3 weeks worth of Tops pre-orders, and then they don't tell you the rest of what's coming anytime soon.
right.
What do you think about that?
I I have seen this before, believe it or not, a couple of years ago, um, or over the last couple of years, I should say. And it's, bear with me, but it was with Upper Deck.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of hockey a couple of years ago with Breaking Bangers, and they continually delayed product, and I mean to the point of products coming out a year after, a year and a half after. We were getting rookie cards for guys who'd been in the league for 2.5 years.
I was gonna say,
Um,
wasn't one of the cup products delayed like 2+ years?
yeah, the cup. I mean, the cup was which is the biggest product in hockey, absolutely by far, was delayed, and you know it. There are potentially some very serious production. I'm talking about manufacturing production issues that can happen. What happens, and this is what I thought I learned from Upper Deck was they only have one or two printing plants in the world that make these things, right? And for each company, right? Upper Deck has one or two. Panini has one in Italy and one in the U.S. Topps has a couple, and if anything happens at one of those plants, from a machine going down to a supply chain issue to anything like that, it just wreaks havoc on them. And I haven't heard this from Panini yet, but my gut is telling me this is probably what's going on.
Hmm.
Just my guess, because it's almost exactly mirroring Upper Deck. We had one product that was a month or two late, and then another product that was a month or two late after that, and then another product that was 6 months late, and it started to just. And it was another, and the key was we had one product that was a platinum, peachy platinum product that we all wanted so bad, and we had like 5 or 6 different release dates. Each one bumped a month or two, a month or two, a month or two, a month or two, and when it finally came out, it was horrible. It was off centered. It had surface issues. It was just very poorly produced. And that's when they actually announced that they were having all these manufacturing problems and all this other stuff. So I I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something along that same lines with Panini in the next two products.
Now, I'm not a huge uh, hockey collector. I don't really join breaks. I just buy a few Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman rookies every once in a while for my
Oh,
Bolts. But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of that started with hockey stuff through COVID. Is that correct?
it was that post COVID getting everything back worldwide, right? In many different industries, but it was that post COVID supply chain crunch that was the majority of it, which was weird because actually through COVID they did all right in terms of production and stuff. But once a lot of other places came back online, they struggled to get paper, they struggled to get ink, they struggled to get those raw materials, and that was a big part of it, right? But
Right.
I I feel like I see the same trend with this Panini product like you're talking about, and I just got a gut feeling that we're gonna find out that a plant went down or there was a strike, in a country or a plant that affected this, or some raw material just had some kind of issue, and it causes this domino effect to happen. Because I'm seeing the exact same pattern of what we saw early in that
Hmm.
that upper deck problem. That they're getting close to. They're still in it. By the way, that problem is still. We still haven't gotten the cup with the Bedard rookies in it, and he's midway through year
Sure.
two now, right? So you still see that, but it's not nearly as much as it was. But I'm guessing there's going to be some manufacturing supply chain issue that's going to be announced, or we're going to find out about, and it'll explain it. I don't think this is a marketing move. I don't think this is a licensing move. I don't think right now it could be that, hey, we're just running low on sticker autos, or we're running low on we want to prolong this issue. I still think Panini is going to be a player in the international product, um,
It very
perhaps.
well could be. I
Um,
guess my thing is, and I need to pay attention more to the other sports, but I haven't noticed any delays with the other sports. I feel like I only see it with the soccer stuff. That might just me being ignorant to what's happening with the other sports, but I do try and pay attention a little bit to like what's happening with the football stuff, what's happening with the basketball stuff. At least for Panini, it feels that way, and it makes me curious. Why is it that Top's able to consistently, come out with these products? And again, this comes back to like I was talking about earlier with the marketing. Like with the Euro product, they did a good job delaying enough information. They gave us the release date, 2 or 3 weeks out. We knew it was coming, and then we got hype, 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 hype. Whereas like we got this release date for Immaculate, and it looks like a good product. I always like Panini Immaculate Soccer. It has nice cards. We get these images. It looks great. Now it's delayed. Now it's delayed. Now it's delayed. It's like 4 months out.
Yeah. I mean, I it wouldn't surprise me also though if they did have some issues that they would bump a soccer product. So let's be fair, right? Production of a soccer product is probably not as profitable as a basketball product or a football product for Panini, right? So if you're having supply chain issues and you have to decide, well, do we make this 10,000 cases of football, or do we make these 3,000 cases of soccer? We can't make both. You're going to pick the football, right? So it's a possibility that they're making business decisions based on capacities as well.
That also kind of feels like what we just talked about, though, with people who are shady with business, right? Because if you're losing basketball and football, and maybe the plan isn't to continue making them, don't you think you'd want to focus on just dumping that, but making quality stuff for footy to get out as quick as you can to keep those customers happy and engaged?
I don't know that that's a immoral business decision. I think that might just be just a true business decision. Whereas
Right.
again, if I'm in business and I can sell 10,000 cases of something or 3,000 cases, but I can't sell 13,000, I have to pick one or the other. I'm going to pick the 10,000. I mean, that's just
Right.
almost always going to be the case, right? So I wonder if that's what's going on. Again, I'm speculating as well, but it gives me this gut feeling. I've got 30 years of production and manufacturing experience. It feels like that's what's happening here, and they're
Hopefully
making
that's it,
decisions, right?
because I
Well,
think that people in the long run want Panini stuff to stay around.
oh yeah, no, I look again. I while I do think Upper Deck has done a good job with hockey, I prefer when there's 2 or 3 companies that make product as opposed to one. Upper Deck has a monopoly on hockey. They're the only, like, other than Topps stickers, like there's no other company that has the NHL license that has anything to do with hockey other than Upper Deck. Now again, I think they've done a good job. They make good products. They put out great looking cards, but they have no competition. At least in soccer, we have 2, or we've had recently 2, and I like that. I like being able. I like being able to pick. I like Topps product, or I like Panini product, or I like this. I like Prism, and I like Chrome, or whatever. You have that opportunity to do. So I believe that that's better for the hobby and for the market to have that competition. I don't want to see Panini relegated into this Leaf, kind of unlicensed, and they're only making this weird kind of, which Leaf is great product, but it doesn't have any value. It doesn't maintain value because they have no license, right? But they put out this ridiculously cool looking cards, but you get 6 patches of the legends of all sports, and it's $100 card. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, so I would prefer Leaf to stay somehow very ingrained in soccer, but I know they're getting pushed out, and I think this is this byproduct of this Fanatics Topps merger, and I'm pretty sure that is the inevitable way it's going to go, at least for the next 5 to 6 years.
I really don't think Panini's going anywhere. I think that here's my theory. I think Panini really, really, really dislikes what Top/Fanatics has done, and they are going to literally go until they burn out. They're going to figure out a way to keep making products just in spite of Topps or Fanatics because of what they put them through with getting these licenses and all these lawsuits and stuff. I think that's literally might be the only reason why they're still in business.
Well, I mean, they're in business because they're making money. You would never
Well,
stay in
sure.
business if you're losing money, right?
Absolutely.
And actually, you would stay in business if you're losing money for a short amount of time. There are costs that to closing down a business that are work, but you have to have a plan to get back to profitability, right? Um,
Yeah.
I just I don't know that, and I agree with you. They do not like what Tops and Fanatics are doing because Tops and Fanatics are, in my opinion, hell bent on putting them out of business. I mean, that's what it looks like. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think Tops and Fanatics want a monopoly on this, not just our hobby, but everything from apparel to memorabilia, everything along those lines. And I think that's their ultimate goal. And I am a free market person, but I don't believe in monopolies, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I think in the long run that ends up hurting the consumer, not helping. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's concerning to me. This is a big macroeconomic topic, and it is concerning if Panini can't hang on. I'm hoping Panini hangs on to the international product, and it kind of turns into, okay, Topps is clubs and Panini's international, right? They do the World Cup stuff, they do the Euros, they do Copas, they do whatever. I would love them to do an Africa a Cup of Nations product. I mean, but
That'd be cool.
um, maybe that's something they could do, to get another product out there if they don't have, La Liga or something like that. But
Well, they have been innovative. I mean, they gave us K League. None of us ripped it,
right, well,
but they did give us K League again for a very specific audience.
yeah, it
I
looked
will say
great
this.
though. That stuff looked
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, it
I
did.
saw some of that stuff, and it was gorgeous.
Some
Um,
of what looked like our national landmarks for
yes.
them, they looked really nice.
So
Really, really nice. I will say this to end this topic here. I do think that Tops, I agree. I think Tops is going after the monopoly. I think that they want everything in the collectibles space, everything like you said, jerseys, memorabilia, cards. I even think that over the next couple of years, it's a possibility you see them go after some like TCGs. They've already worked with Gary V very closely with
right.
his V Friends game. Fanatics Live is promoting a lot of Pokemon stuff. Who knows what happens there in the future? We're just speculating, but I could see them trying to make moves for those sort of things to really kind of, like we said, monopolize the market. Whether it's good or bad, I think we both believe it's bad, but some people might think it's good. But let's quickly go into this one because we were quite literally just thrown a product
Ah,
from Tops
yes.
that was supposed to release 2.5, 3 years ago
Speaking of
at this
stuff that
point.
took forever to come out, yeah.
I remember I have a distribution account with GTS. I was marketed this product and promised this product, this Bowman Chrome under 21, back when Tops was still giving product to distributors. In a 3-year span, Tops no longer is working with those distributors, and now I no longer was given that product. Not having to do with me. I just think it's kind of funny how long like this whole process has taken. Not only were we just thrown this product, we are a month out, maybe 3 weeks out of receiving it, right? And we still haven't gotten a checklist at all for it.
That is,
So
yeah. The fact,
it's the most bizarre thing. Now, I will say a lot of us have gone through and just ripped personals, serial breaks, color breaks, because we've seen the breakdown of the different colors, but we haven't gotten a player checklist. For the price point, I was actually pleasantly surprised with what was in the product. There were still some really, really, really good names, some names that we've all never heard of because it's a prospecting product. Bowman, historically has always been a prospecting product for baseball.
right.
But this under 21 set, it had some first Bowmans of, some very, very good names. Some Cole Palmers, Joshua Xerxes. I think the biggest one for me would have been Nico Williams. I really like him. But there were some really good names and some great, great autos to chase after. Have you opened any of it?
I have not. I'm hoping to do some Friday. So I have a couple of serial breaks posted for Friday during the Black Friday event on Whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to it. I do like the look of it. I like the idea of there's always players that are 17, 18, 19 years old that within a year become those household names, and you don't know about them right this second. But the price point is really low. I mean, it's a really low price point
Mm-hmm.
product. Um, so I'm excited to rip it. I want to rip, a couple cases that I have to see it because I want to see it firsthand, just how good it is. Um, I don't. I wonder, like you said, this Bowman is always a baseball product. The Bowman firsts are huge chasers in baseball. I don't know that this is translating to soccer.
No, I don't think this product is here to stay. I
Right.
don't. I think this was an experiment. I think that they mishandled this product completely. If they were, because they again created this product, this idea 3 years ago. They continued with the process, never finished creating it or whatever stopped them from sending it out to everybody and never actually released it. This should have been saved for a national product. This should have been a wrapper redemption that you could be buying at the national. That's 100% what this product should have been. It should have never just been thrown to all the different breakers and distributors to say, "Hey, just go at it and get rid of this." Right? That's not fair to anybody, and I don't think it's good that we don't. It's not even good that we don't have a checklist. Like, how do you release a product without a checklist? Nobody knows what they're buying. You know what I mean?
That is the number two issue with this product. The fact that it took 2.5 years is the number one issue.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
the fact that there's no checklist, again, like you said, 3 weeks after they've finally released it, is unexcusable. I mean, it is, and I keep using that word tonight because things keep happening that just
Mm-hmm.
it's not good. But you know, we need to know what chasers are in there. We need to know, there's super fractors of this player, and there's to 5 and to 25 and to 50. I mean, we like that is important to know. I mean, and you know that in anything, in any, whether it's lottery tickets to our cards to anything, like you need to know what how many there are of something out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with any kind of collectible, that's important, right? There's only 5 of these, antique chairs in the world, right? Like you need to know what that exclusivity is on it. Not knowing anything about this product from a checklist standpoint is just deplorable. I mean, we and I mean, on new products, I see why sometimes we get it a couple days before release or whatever. But they've known the checklist for this product for 2 years. Like, you can't tell me they don't. So there's no
I
reason.
actually don't think they don't. I actually don't think they don't. I think they had no freaking clue what they wanted this product to be, what they wanted it to be in the future. It was something that somebody in marketing said this would be a good idea because we do it in baseball. Soccer is starting to come up. Let's create another new product. Let's try to integrate it with what we've already done. And then it just turned into a whole cluster, you know what. I mean, I think that they really have no clue what their intention was and what they wanted us or them to get out of this product.
No, I'm saying, like, the players that are eligible for this, they've known for two. There's only a certain number of players that were eligible, right?
Sure.
So you already had a reduced list of people in the world that could be on the checklist, right? 300 or whatever players total that could have
Right.
qualified for the checklist. So to not have it come out, after you've already made the product and you already had that whittled down to that point is just unacceptable.
It feels like a really poorly made mystery bag product.
Right.
Like, just totally mishandled. There's just nothing. Now at the same time, I'm talking bad about it. But after I opened it, I was pleasantly surprised with it. Like,
Well, it
that's what
looks
I'm saying.
great,
Is
right? I
so
mean, it
it
looks great.
looks
There's
good. The
lots of
color
holes.
pops.
I
There's
mean,
lots of low numbered
yeah,
stuff. The autos are clean. I mean, we pulled a Cole Palmer first Bowman auto out of 50 just the other day.
yeah.
Like, sick looking card. Um, it is unlicensed. England's unlicensed. Italy's unlicensed. So the same problem we had with Euros is approaching again with the unlicensed. But I think over the next couple of years that changes. So
Well, like I said, I'm hoping Friday we do a couple of. I mean, a serial break on an entire case is going to be very rare because usually the price point would just be um, impossible to do something like that on. But this particular product, at the price point that we have these cases at, we can do a serial break at a very reasonable price per spot, and getting a 1/10 of an entire case for $100 is should be a lot of fun. So
it should
we'll
be.
see.
You guys will get good value out of that. There is
Yeah.
value to be had out of this product at that price point. there are a lot of good names and a lot of names that we can still hold out hope for. And a lot
Yeah,
of names that we might not know yet. And because they were so young, they could pop up in the next 2-3 years. Like,
yeah,
who
they're still
knows?
only 19 or 18. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Not
There's still
everybody's gonna
lots
be
of opportunity
young.
with that.
Yeah,
There's going to be one random, you know,
they're oh
Georgian
yeah, no doubt.
striker
Yep.
who it was 17 years old when the product came out, and 3 years from now we're all talking about him
3
like
years from now,
Gyökeres or
we're all
Lamine.
chasing the guy's card out of this stuff. That's exactly right.
Exactly, and it'll be his only card, and
Yeah.
everybody will be freaking out about it, and
Are there
everyone's
any
going to be like,
goalies?
"Why didn't we hold?"
Are there any goalies in here?
Oh, there's plenty of goalies,
Is there really?
none that we know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
goalies. We got
Yeah.
goalied a few times.
Oh, there you go.
We did. So yeah, well, definitely check out Turtles Whatnot, guys. And show for that, because the serial break is I think the best way to actually do that, since there is no actual checklist and there's
I
a whole
mean,
lot of
it
color that
has
comes
to
out of the
be.
hobby.
It's you're either doming boxes or at $60, $70 a box or whatever, or you've got to do a serial break because
Yeah, you gotta. That's not fair to do PYTs
right.
with not actually knowing what's in it. That'd be bad. So, any other final notes from you, my buddy?
Other than happy Thanksgiving to everybody, I hope everybody
Yeah,
is safe and enjoys. If you have off, if you enjoy the time off, if you're still working, be careful out there of whatever you're doing. But we are into that. We're finally into that true holiday time period, and we have a lot of stuff coming out. We've got MLS coming out. We've got Flagship coming out. We've got Christmas is coming. So I hope we finish the year safe and fun and strong, and we do it all again next year. It's been a blast this year.
it sure has. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And yeah, everybody stay safe. Enjoy your friends and family that you're with and around this holiday season. You never know how long you get to enjoy those. So take every moment for granted if you can, because I mean, enjoy it as much as you can. It's the best time of year for myself and my family. So we never miss a moment. So any other thoughts? We good?
I think so. Thank you for hosting
All
again.
right. Of course, everybody, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the podcast. Go check out Turtles Whatnot Show for Bowman Chrome under 21. And make sure you guys see everything we're doing on Fanatics Live. We got lots of breaks going on. And we'll see you guys hopefully next week. Peace out.
Later, guys.